Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. Now, the Bank of Ghana is rejecting claims it has been selective in its quest to sanitize the banking sector. The 7-member ex-board of directors of the now defunct Heritage Bank has issued a statement responding to all the allegations leveled against the bank's operations by the Bank of Ghana, for which reason its license was revoked last Friday. I want to read aspects of the statement for you. The board concluded that they had engaged with the Bank of Ghana, including the governors, on numerous occasions, quote, all in relation to meeting the capital requirement, and at no time had the issues now been given as grounds for the revocation of the bank's license has been raised. Now, indeed, as recently as December 24, 2018, the Bank of Ghana had given Heritage Bank clearance for a potential investor who had brought proof of funds to transfer the money. It goes on to say we had considered and applied for consideration under the Ghana Amalgamated Trust Scheme and had received positive signals. We were literally in conversation with our prospective investor when the bank was summoned at about 12 p.m. to a meeting at 2 p.m. and handed the letter revoking the bank's license. So that was from the ex-board of Heritage Bank on claims that they were insolvent. Now, they're saying they were solvent and the Bank of Ghana had no reason to revoke their licenses. Meanwhile, we have been hearing from the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank, LC Awaji. She has been rejecting claims of bias being leveled against it by the ex-board of Heritage Bank and, of course, some analysts who have been monitoring the situation.
What would be the basis of that allegation, of that claim? I mean, we have...
Heritage, for instance, has named something saying that you're stating falsehood, which you dispute, of course, but that's their position.
I did dispute that. And people are well within their rights to dispute actions of the central bank and dispute facts. In the end, there are processes, for confirming who's right and who's wrong. And I would encourage people to pursue those. But we have acted based on information available to us. We have used the same law. We have used facts available to us, which we have cross-checked, which we have investigated and confirmed, based on which we've taken action. And based on that, it will be very difficult for anybody to show that we have been selective or we haven't applied the law fairly. I mean, one of our greatest responsibilities as a regulator is to be fair, but also to be firm. Of course. And we're committed to the rule of law. Just as we want to act within the confines of the law, we expect everybody else to operate within the confines of the law, and that we will make sure.
Well, the question now is whether or not we have seen an end to the banking sector crisis. Well, President of the Ghana Bankers Association, Alhassan Andani, says he expects things to normalize by the middle of the year.
The problems for those of us in the industry and knew what kind of problems there were, the treatment and the manner the central bank has handled it. Could have chosen a shock therapy, which would have been probably much more disastrous for the country, or choosing the kind of phased out resolution, which they have done. And I do sincerely believe that we have brought closure to it and should open a new chapter for us.
Well, in less than 2 hours, we expect the defunct Premium and Heritage banks to open for business under the umbrella of the Consolidated Bank. My colleague Charles Aite has been monitoring the situation at the various banks and reports.
We have not been granted access to the premises of these banks, Premium and Heritage Bank. But it's very clear that from last Friday, when the announcement from the Bank of Ghana was made regarding these two banks, first Premium Bank and that of Heritage Bank, with Premium Bank we do know that they are insolvent, hence the need for the revocation of their license. With Heritage Bank we also do know from the Bank of Ghana that, of course, there are issues regarding their assets and, of course, the sourcing of their capital are very much suspicious, hence the revocation of their license. But today we have scouted these two banks, and we cannot find any customer there at this particular moment. The interactions that I had with the authorities there, the workers there in that regard, off camera, it tends to mean that all customers have been issued out notifications via text messages. So they all do know what exactly is happening, and they will be visiting their various branches at 2 p.m. this afternoon. That's 2 p.m. in that very regard. But so many questions are, mounting regarding the safety of funds, whatnot. But we're gathering as well from the Bank of Ghana that everything is safe when it comes to depositors' funds. Everything is safe. But one other thing that I must add is that when you visit the ATMs of both banks, you realize that the ATM machines, the ATMs are just temporarily unavailable. And of course, you could read meaning into this one, the transition period, having both of them come under the Consolidated Bank of Ghana. So this is a situation that we could report currently here in Accra, pertaining Heritage Bank and that of Premium Bank. Their head offices in that matter, Darrell.
Well, away from banking, the question of having a viable national airline has been asked many times after Ghana failed to maintain two major airlines, Ghana Airways and Ghana International Airlines. Even though the current government is committed to setting up a national carrier, the question remains on where the funding will come from and whether the private sector should lead. My colleague in Shirado has been speaking to the Vice President of Africa and Indian Sub-Ocean for Airbus, Hadi Akum, who explains the economy stands to benefit if government is successful.
We have the same time zone with Europe. Why not imagine that, 7 hours, 8 hours from London, people can come for a weekend, stay, and then come back after for the week in London. However, if you want to do this, you need to have an efficient way of transport. At the same, if you put an aircraft on direct flight, this aircraft will be able as well to carry freight. So you will be able to export your pineapple, you will be able to export any kind of perishable that is produced in Ghana. And you don't have to export the raw. You can cut it, prepare it, and just send it already prepared in such a way that the next day it will be available at the restaurant in London. So you see how an airline can create this. Okay, some people would say that yes, okay, we have British Airways that could come. Don't forget, British Airways, their model is to make profit. It's not to develop the country. So the national carrier, if it is run properly, they can be very efficient.
And the small business news in about 20 minutes with Emmanuel Abuajiri on the marketplace. Up next, sports with Baba Tando. Stay tuned.